color rose. I need to get another one of those. So, what's going on, beautiful people? I am the Grandmaster, and I also go by D-Ray, and I am so excited. It is time. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Familia, boys and girls, everyone from young to old. It's here. Gen 8 Wi-Fi. We have done the PCL, but the PCL unfortunately was put on hold. Now we're in our serious leagues, the first of which is this league. This is the draft analysis for the APA Academy season number 3. I am so excited to be invited back. Thank you so much, guys. Today we're going to be talking about what I picked, why I picked it, what my thought process was during the draft, so on and so forth. What is the APA for those who don't know? The APA, this way. The APA is the American Pokemon Association, and the Academy is the D League to the main. Just to kind of give you a retrospect and idea of what that really means, the APA main is the S tier of Draft League competitors, content, and battles, ABCD. The coaches that are typically in that league and the coaches that are participating this season, we have Lord Envy himself, PokeAim MD, Panther, Panther 2, Miticus, Patty Trills, just to kind of name a few to you guys, a bunch of big names. The APA Academy is considered the A tier of Draft League competition. So we do have 20 coaches in this league. I'm very excited to participate. So the main goal here is to, number 1, make playoffs, number 2, to win the whole shebang, for us to be in a consideration to be able to be brought up to the APA main league so I can compete with those S tier players. So it's gonna be a good time. So if you guys are excited, please do me a massive favor, hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifications, hit the bell button so you guys don't miss out on any videos that I decide to post. And to support your San Diego Snugglers this season, shadow claw that thumbs up button. Now let's get some housekeeping stuff out of the way. What is Draft League? Draft League is essentially just like fantasy football. We have a bunch of coaches that are going to get together in a group and we get to pick Pokemon one at a time. We're going to get randomly selected for whatever draft pick that we get. We got the first overall pick, baby. The league is going to be separated into 2. There's 2 different pools. We're in pool number 2, and we did get the very first overall pick. Wow, this has never happened. I'm so excited for this. Once I pick, number 2, 3, 4, the rest of the coaches go. Once the last coach goes, he gets to pick twice to make the wheel to come back all the way to me. So because I get the first overall pick, I do get to pick whatever the hell I want, but it has to mean something. It has to come every single week. This draft pick is going to be super crucial to this entire team because I have to wait a lot before I get to pick again. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So I did get to play a couple different draft leagues before this, so I got to choose this Pokemon. But before we get into all that, let's go to hop on into the beautiful draft slides that were provided to us by one of the commissioners of the APA, Elite Four, Dan. Phenomenal job, my brother. This thing looks great. As you can see on your left, these are the tiers that we're picking in these Pokemon. Every Pokemon is put into a specific tier to make sure that it was fair and not overpowered in regards to each Pokemon, each team. So we do get access to G-Max. Gigantamax is allowed in this league. Gigantamax is allowed. Dynamax is not. Dynamax is not allowed. Gigantamax is essentially taking the place of Megas like last generation. You get access to 1 tier 1, 1 tier 2, 2 tier 3s, a tier 4, tier 5, and then 4 free picks in which you could pick whatever you want depending on your point value. You do get a 400 point allowance, which does allow you to pick another tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, etc. You have to make sure that you spend wisely though. Your G-Max can either give you points or take away free points depending on what Pokemon that you get for your G-Max. So below me, you're going to see the different pools. We are in pool number 2. The coaches that are in our pool, we have Odds Are, who is the coach of the Memphis Bewares. We have the Milwaukee Melmetals, coached by Alex Cool Rocket. We have the Forest Green Rowlet that is coached by Lantern Joe. The Minnesota Lycanrocs that is coached by Flame Horizon. The New Jersey Brobats, coached by Root. We have the Helsinki High Dragons that is coached by Vepsis. The Dallas Starmie, coached by Shaquaza. We have the Vittoria Vitinis that is coached by my good homie, Zombie. And we have the Milwaukee Weasels, the Northern Weasels, excuse me, coached by Slackout. So those are the teams that are going to be affecting us directly during this draft. So with the very first pick in the 2020 AP Academy pool number 2 draft, the San Diego Snugglers select Dragapult. Yeah, baby. I was looking at Zero Aura first overall. I was also looking at Melmetal first overall. All 3 of those Pokemon are, in my opinion, surefire first overall picks. The reason why I picked Dragapult is because, one, I've used it before in another Showdown League, in the NCP Stratus, and that Pokemon was phenomenal. It fits so many roles. It fills so many gaps in the team, and you can build around this thing so cleanly. It could be a cleaner, it could be a breaker, it could be support. It's a ghost typing, it's a dragon type. It's the pseudo legendary of this generation. So basically, what it gets, 3 abilities: Infiltrator, Curse Body, and Clear Body. Clear Body allows you to not reduce any stats. That's important for whenever my opponent brings Intimidate. And I'm running a physical Dragapult. It doesn't reduce its speed if my opponent brings Sticky Web. Curse Body is great to get a 30% chance to disable my opponent's move that decides to use against Dragapult. Infiltrator ignores Substitute and screens. All amazing abilities. Gets access to Dragon Dance. Gets access to a signature move in Dragon Darts. So Dragon Darts is the new move that only Dragapult gets. It's a two-hit move, Dragon type. Allows you to break substitutes in some situations. Allows you to pop bond berries in some situations. Stats wise, it gets 120 attack, 100 in special attack. The only hindrance that I believe, because it's a ghost type, it's only physical Ghost Stab, is Phantom Force. Phantom Force is a 90 base move, but it's a 2-turn move, so my opponent can actually take advantage of that by switching around. It does not protect, doesn't work on it, but your opponent can switch into a normal type, which you don't really want to use Phantom Force if that's the case, but it could be played around, which isn't always the great. But what's amazing is that its special move pool is phenomenal. It gets access to Shadow Ball. It gets access to Thunderbolt. It gets access to Fire Blast. And it gets amazing pivoting options in U-turn. So you can pivot out if your opponent decides to switch out thinking that it's going to get knocked out by Dragapult here. It gets access to, obviously, Dragon Pulse and to Draco Meteor. Fire Blast and Flamethrower, both of them. It gets Hydro Pump, dual screens, Light Screen, and Reflect. It does have priority options in Sucker Punch, and it gets access to Quick Attack. So the Sucker Punch, and it also gets access to Quick Attack depending on the situation. So that could be coming in handy if I want to run a physical variant. It does have access to Surf if you don't want to run Hydro Pump, Thunder Wave, Tri Attack, Will-O-Wisp. So you can run a sub Will-O-Wisp disable kind of thing, which could be great. But Dragapult provides so much for this team. I'm spending a little bit more time on it because this mon is invaluable. It's always going to fit the glove no matter what team that we decide that we're going to be prepping for. It's going to fill so many roles. My opponent will never know what I'm really going to bring. They could guess, but they're never truly going to know. So in my opinion, Dragapult was worth the first overall pick. In my opinion, right? So our Dragapult's going to be named Air Force Uno this season. So there you have it. That's our first overall pick. So hopping back into our slides here, the second round. So essentially, remember, guys, the rest of the coaches pick, and then they all pick again, and then I get to go. But I do get a wheel, so I get to pick 2 Pokemon every single time that it comes to me. So the first of my pair is going to be the next pick in the 2020 AP Academy Draft, pool number 2. The San Diego Snugglers decide to select Togekiss. So Togekiss is going to fit like a glove, essentially. It's going to be the second part of our Fantasy Core, our Fairy type, Fairy Flying typing. This mon is phenomenal. Gets access to Serene Grace, Hustle, and Super Luck. Super Luck is great for a high crit ratio, so if you give a Scope Lens, I can hit things hard. Hustle boosts his moves, but it does decrease accuracy. Most likely it's going to be a run with Serene Grace, which basically doubles the likelihood to get the secondary effective moves. For example, Stab Air Slash has a chance to flinch, 30% chance. With Serene Grace, it's a 60% chance. higher chance to burn on flamethrower, higher chance to freeze, things like that if you bring ice beam. I don't think it gets ice beam though. So essentially this is going to be great for paraflinching shenanigans because it does have access to thunder wave. It gets a great cleric, so it gets access to wish as well as heal bell. Remember, post home, so now it has access to heal bell as well as defog and roost. So I can get rid of hazards if I decide to give it some heavy duty boots. So this could be a really great Pokemon. It's quad resistant to fighting. It's an immunity to dragon and to ground. So this Mon is going to be a great defensive backbone for the team. It can fill a couple different roles, which is really important in Draft League. You have to be able to pick Pokemon that can do multiple different things. It isn't something that your opponent can expect every single time. So Togekiss was a phenomenal pick in my opinion. And so for our next pick, which is basically back-to-back, we did decide to go ahead and pair this up with the third round of the 2020 AP Academy Draft. The San Diego Snugglers have selected Toxtricity. I had to jump on this Pokemon right away. It wasn't picked in the second round. It is a second round Pokemon in my opinion. I do have access to both forms as you see on your screen. The yellow one is the amped up form. The blue one is the low key form. I have access to both. The amped up form has access to shift gear, which gives you a +2 speed, +1 in attack, I believe is what it does, but essentially gives you access to boost up its speed, a setup move, right? This thing gets a new ability called Punk Rock. So Punk Rock basically boosts the power of sound-based moves like Snarl, its signature electric type move Overdrive, and it gets access to Boom Burst. So Boom Burst is boosted by Punk Rock, which is phenomenal. It does have other abilities. I think it's plus to have both Pokemon together if you do doubles, but that doesn't work in singles like this league. It also gets access to Technician, so I don't think I'll use Technician all that much. Punk Rock is going to be run about 99% of the time, so this Mon is going to be an amazing breaker for bulky water types, for bulky flying types. This Mon is a great pivot option with Volt Switch. It does have access to Stab, because it does have beautiful Stab options. It has access to it's electric and poison typing. Sorry guys, I'm gonna close this window real quick because it's a lot of noise outside. Oh, that is really heavy. Okay, that wasn't fragile, promise. All right, so like I was saying, beautiful typing, brand new typing, electric and poison. Has access to Sludge Bomb and Sludge Wave, so that's really great. So this Mon's going to be an awesome breaker for us and a potential sweeper depending on the situation. Gets crucial resistances like fighting and fairy, which is great for Dragapult. But now I don't have to worry about any bulky waters, which is going to be awesome. So it was too good to pass up for it being available for when it was. So I had to scoop it up. So with the fourth pick in the draft, your San Diego Snugglers decided to select Excadrill. Familia. Excadrill was still available. This Pokemon is a round 1 pick, and I got it 4th overall. Not 4th overall, in the 4th round. That is so crazy. You see Excadrill and Toxtricity in my free slots. Toxtricity is a tier 2 Pokemon. Excadrill is a tier 1 Pokemon. I don't know how this happened, but this ground steel type is going to be a phenomenal breaker for this team. Gets access to Mold Breaker, so I can still hit those Levitator Pokemon, namely the Rotom forms, and Hydreigon just to get the top of the dome. The Steel Stab with Iron Head. Earthquake, obviously, Rock Slide, Rapid Spin. Rapid Spin was buffed this generation. It gets a +1 speed boost every single time you use it when you get rid of hazards. This Mon is going to be phenomenal. Mold Breaker, Sand Rush, Sand Force. I want to be able to take advantage of all of its abilities. So, you kind of have a general idea what I want to move towards on my next pick since I got access to this thing. I'd never in my wildest dreams that I ever think I'd get access to Excadrill. This is going to be the third part of our Fairy Dragon Steel core. We have Dragapult, Togekiss, and Excadrill. Togekiss is going to cover its ground weakness and its fighting type weakness. And Dragapult can cover the fire types for the most part, you know. And it can also switch into fighting types in some situations. So, phenomenal fit for this team. I can't believe that it fell to me. It's just blows my mind every single time that I think about it, but I'm lucky that I did get it. I'm very fortunate. I didn't go over this, but nicknames. Dragapult's going to be named Air Force Uno. Togekiss is named Aria after my daughter. Excadrill is going to be named Makita. Makita is a brand of hardware tools that my dad loves to use. Toxtricity is going to be named Thunderstruck. That's a mod to AC/DC. Those are the nicknames. So with the next pick of the draft, the San Diego Snugglers decide to take advantage of the Sand Rush ability and dip into our G-Max. And we're going to take this Pokemon because it's an amazing value. It does give us a plus 20 in our free points. We actually gain points by taking this Pokemon, which is crazy. With our next pick, we decided to pick up Sandaconda, Gigantamax Sandaconda. So Sandaconda is going to be great because it gets the access to Sand Spit. Whenever a move is used against Sandaconda and it takes damage, it sets up Sandstorm. So that's going to be great for Excadrill to take advantage of. It could be a great sweeper because, again, I get to Gigantamax. There's one thing that I did not mention in this league. We kind of had to neuter Gigantamax a little bit, so our Gigantamax Pokemon are forced to hold a Pokeball. Yeah, you heard it right. Our Gigantamax Pokemon are forced to hold a Pokeball. The reason for it, I believe, is so that way it still has the ability to be knocked off. And so Pokeball is just the way that they decide to neuter Gigantamax, because Gigantamax mechanic is still pretty broken. This thing gets access to Hurricane, which gives us access to Max Airstream, still +1 special attack boost. It gets access to Rock, so if I don't want to make Excadrill my main rocker, I can give it on Sandaconda here. There's no restriction on actually having to Gigantamax. You don't have to do it the very first turn. You can do it whenever you like. So there's no restriction there. So Sandaconda is going to be a phenomenal way for me to set up Sand for Excadrill, as well as to punch some holes in some teams. It does get great coverage. The Sandaconda on our team is going to be named, I think we're going to name, what did we decide to name it? We decided to name it Salazar. Salazar for Salazar Slytherin and Harry Potter. So I'm very excited to get this Gigantamax Pokemon, and it's awesome because I get to pick an extra 20 points. I get an extra 20 points for my free picks. That's important because I took a big hit when I picked Excadrill. The tier 1 point value is 180, so I really had to kind of gather myself after making such a big pick. So we have 2 tier 1 picks this on this team. So that's Sandaconda. So I'm very excited to have this on the squad. And for the next pick, we decided to go ahead and pick up Cantonian Rapidash. So Cantonian Rapidash is going to be an amazing breaker sweeper roll. It's kind of fragile, not too bad though. Does have access to Flash Fire. Let's go ahead and dip into Pokemon Showdown to kind of show you guys a little bit more of the coverage that Rapidash gets. Rapidash nickname is going to be Roman, because my son Roman loves horses, so we're going to name it after my son. We're going to be using the shiny form because it's just too phenomenal. The coverage that this thing gets, right? So it gets access to Flash Fire ability wise, so that way it's immune to fire type attacks, which is going to be phenomenal for Excadrill. We don't necessarily have to make that reliant on Dragapult, so we do have a fire type switch in. And it has access to Flame Body, which can be pretty good in some situations to get that chance to burn. If we run a bulky set 1 week, that could be fire. Runaway, no competitive use, you'll never see it whatsoever. But in regards to its coverage, it gets access to High Horsepower, it gets access to Flare Blitz, it gets access to Wild Charge, it gets access to Zen Headbutt. Oh no, it doesn't have that, that's the Galarian form. Flame Charge to boost our special attack by 1. It gets access to Low Kick, which is a good fighting type coverage. If I have a fat steel type or a fat normal type in front of me, that could be pretty great. I do get reliable recovery in Morning Sun. We do have Sand, which is going to neuter that a little bit, but it's something to keep in mind. Get access to Play Rough, which is going to be pretty cool. Access to Poison Jab for the fairy types, which would be pretty awesome. And Throat Chop for the ghost types. And so also for limiting sound-based moves, which could be pretty great. Will-O-Wisp is going to be awesome to not have to run Flame Body and still be able to burn stuff. But this Pokemon gets a lot of really great options. Agility is going to be pretty great to help me sweep, depending on if there's something else faster that may be faster than Dragapult, maybe a Scarfer. baton pass, so maybe I can get some pivoting options there as well. But this Mon is going to be a phenomenal fit in regards to draft to allow me to put coverage on it to break teams or to sweep teams late game. It's got an amazing speed stat at 105. This generation is very, very slow, so 105 is considered top notch. Back last generation, if you didn't have 130 base speed move, you were slow. But 105 is a great speed tier. Allows me to speed those base 100s. Allows me to outspeed Pokemon like first one that comes off the top of my head is Meowstic is like 101 or something like that. But this is going to be a great speed tier to naturally outspeed things with the Jolly nature. So does hit still pretty hard with 100 base attack, but Rapidash is going to be a great addition to the team. Roman is going to put in some work and is going to come a lot, I believe. So great fit. So Rapidash allows us to be pretty cheap because we did get the extra 20 points. Now, with the next pick in the draft, the San Diego Snugglers decided to pick up Lapras. Lapras is an amazing value at tier 5. Lapras is the water ice typing. Does have access to freeze dry, and it has access to the ability water absorb. So the water absorb is really the big thing that really got me to wanting to pick Lapras. The nickname for our Lapras is going to be Rain. Run the shiny one most of the time, but water absorb is the big thing, right? So Dracovish is the thing. You have to kind of draft for Dracovish. I didn't pick it in our team, so I had to figure out a way to counteract it. Water absorb can be one of the ways that we could do so. It does have other coverage options, I understand that, but that way I don't get spam Vicious Rend. Rain, a kind of water offensive Pokemon that wants to come in and just wreak havoc. Lapras can put a little bit of a stop to that because it does have an amazing fat stat of 130 base HP and pretty good defenses in 80 in both, right? 80 in defense and 80 and 95 in speed def. So this Pokemon can sponge some hits, that's for sure. Does have access to freeze dry, like I was telling you, access to surf and hydro pump. It gets access to the Thunderbolt, which is pretty crazy. Body Press is a new move this generation. We get Dragon Pulse. We have access to Heal Bell as another cleric if I don't want to have that role filled in by Togekiss. It gets access to Life Dew, which is an okay way to recover. It only gives you 1/4 the amount, but it could come in handy in some situations. Life Dew can come in handy, I will say that. Has access to Zen Headbutt for some physical attack coverage. Hyper Voice, Mega Horn is going to be pretty good. Outrage in some situations. Perish Song, if I get to my opponent and he has one Pokemon left and I have two, I can Perish Song. I try my best to keep Lapras alive, and then after the 3 turns are up, just eliminate my last Pokemon on my opponent's team. Just to kind of go back a little bit, we're going to be running a different way of our timer, so we're able to bypass the 20-minute timer. So don't worry, I'm not going to be stalling people out from the timer. So that'll be great. We did find a way to bypass the timer. So Rain is going to be a phenomenal fit for this team. I'm really happy that we got to pick up Lapras. So with the next pick in the draft, the San Diego Snugglers decided to go ahead and pick up both forms of Indeedee. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, both forms of Indeedee. Typically in drafts that I've been playing in, they separated the two of them, male and female. Male is on your left, female is on your right. The male is going to be named Daniel. The female is going to be named Summer, because my name and my wife's name. So I'm very excited to get both. They're very, very different, and I'll show you how, right? So we have both of our Indeedee forms, right? First we have the male form. The male form stats, we have 105 in special attack and a 95 base speed. 16 HP, 65 attack, which is really never going to be used whatsoever. Defense is kind of mediocre, but this is really what you want to look at. 95 base speed def, the attack, the speed, phenomenal. The female form, right, a little bit more bulky, right, 10 more in HP. And then we have a little bit less special attack, but again, a little bit fatter, a little more in the speed def. So if I need to bring more of a support like Indeedee, they do have the same movesets from what I understand. I have to look into it a little bit more. But if I want to bring more of a support-based variant, I'll bring Summer, which is going to be the female Indeedee. And if I want to bring more of an offensive Indeedee, then I'll bring the male form. It does get access to Psychic Surge, so this is basically like the brand new Tapu Lele. If I throw a Scarf on this, I am immune to all priority moves, so that could be phenomenal for the team. It's an immunity to ghost types, which is invaluable for Dragapult. Really great. It's a ghost type switch in, which is great. Because it gets the normal typing, is no longer resistant to fighting, but I do have a couple fighting resistances as well as immunities already on the team, so that's not really necessary. But Indeedee is here to set up Psychic Terrain. Psychic Terrain is going to be great for Dragapult as well, because it also will be immune to any priority based moves. So if my opponent doesn't have anything fast enough to outspeed Dragapult, it can't bring priority because I'll have Psychic Terrain, which is going to be great. It does have access to Psychic, which basically is going to be boosted by the terrain. It's going to be phenomenal for the offensive form. In regards to the support options that we have for our Indeedee here, we have Aromatherapy, which is essentially a heal bell. Calm Mind, Baton Pass. We have access to Healing Wish. So if I start to get low on one of my Pokemon and I need to revive them, I can use Healing Wish. Trick, if I need to bring Trick, maybe I could Trick on a Choice Specs onto something. That way I can neuter that. Access to Draining Kiss, and a lot of the rest of the stuff is very VGC based. Does have access to stored power, so some Calm Mind stored power stuff could be phenomenal. But this is the more supportive variant. In regards to offensive, it's kind of the same thing. It just has a better special attack stat. So two very different Pokemon, and I do have access to both, which is why the value of Indeedee was just way too good to pass up. So Indeedee is going to be an amazing asset to this team. So with the next pick of the draft, the San Diego Snugglers decided to pick up Persian, aka Gypsy, named by my wife. This is a lowland Persian whom is allowed to be accessed post-home, like I was talking about. So this is a pure dark type, which is going to be really great for the team in regards to speed, because it does have a base 115 base speed. And then it has access to Fur Coat, which makes it a little bit tougher on the physical side. Access to Technician, that boosts the power of weaker moves a little bit more. Rattled, never really ever use, ever. You never use Rattled. You most likely see Fur Coat on this thing or Technician. It has access to Dark Pulse, Knockoff, Parting Shot, which is going to be a phenomenal move to be able to pivot in and out. So that way it reduces the special attack and the physical attack by the Pokemon in front of me, so I can bring in another Pokemon safely, namely Dragapult or Rapidash or Excadrill for that matter. So this mon is going to be phenomenal. It does have access to Taunt because it is a pure dark type. So Taunt could be pretty good in regards to other coverage that it gets. So Seed Bomb could be pretty good in some physical situations if I have like a Gastrodon in front of me or something like that, or a Seismitoad. It gives access to Switcheroo, which is essentially the same thing as Trick, so that can come in handy. Throat Chop to get rid of any kind of sound-based moves. U-Turn is another pivoting option, but preferably I would like to run Parting Shot in most situations. But a situation that you would use U-Turn instead of Parting Shot is if you're in the face of a Defiant Pokemon, or if your opponent knows that you're going to Parting Shot out, they switch in their Defiant Pokemon, and then they get an attack boost because you decrease their attack, so it gets that boost. So that's one reason why you want to use Parting Shot instead of U-Turn. It gets access to Gunk Shot and Foul Play, which could be pretty great for fairy types as well as other physical types that decided to boost in front of you on the physical side, so you can reverse sweep them if you can outspeed them, which could be pretty great. It gets phasing options in Roar, so if that's another option if someone wants to try to set up in front of me. So Power Gem is going to be pretty good if I run a special variant. So there's a lot of versatility in Persian, which is why I really wanted to pick this up for the team. So with the next pick, the San Diego Snugglers decide to pick up Virizion. So Persian was our tier 4 named Gypsy, and then our tier 3 is going to be Virizion. Virizion's name is going to be Vision. It's going to be a great mon for the team because it gives us another speed tier. So Vision is going to be pretty phenomenal. It gets a 108 base speed, I believe is what it is. Yeah, 108 base speed, which is another great little speed tier to fall into. Abilities wise, Justified's all it gets. It's an amazing dark type switch in because it does have a really high Spadef stat. HP is pretty good at 91, but the Spadef is amazing at 129. So that's going to be pretty good. So I can switch into Dark Pulses that Dragapult doesn't want to take. Knockoffs, I don't really want to, but I can because Justified does boost your attack power by 1, and this is a physical attacker. The one crappy part about this Pokemon is that it gets a really abysmal 90 base attack power. It does get access to Swords Dance, which is pretty cool in regards to boosting it up, but it doesn't have that immediate power. You can always put a choice band on it, but again, it's not really that strong. Gets access to Leaf Blade for stab. It gets access to Close Combat, which is a really great stab option. It does have access to Mega Horn, which is pretty good for some coverage against some Psychic type attacks. It gets access to Facade if it decide to try to burn me. Other options that we could run here, we have Stone Edge for flying type coverage. So whenever there's a flying type that wants to try to switch in, because it is 4 times effective against Virizion, you can always run Stone Edge. It can help you out a little bit. Access to X Scissor in case you don't want to run Mega Horn. Zen Headbutt could be pretty good whenever you want to see other fighting types that want to maybe switch into you. So this mon could be pretty great. It does have access to Leaf Blade, so that's a little more of a stronger. No, it's not Leaf Blade. I wanted to say another. No, it doesn't have access to Solar Blade. No, it doesn't have access to Solar Blade, but it does have access to Synthesis, which is pretty great. Again, I do have Sand, which could neuter it a little bit because it does better in the sun than it does in the sand, but it is an option if I don't bring Sandaconda for whatever reason that week. Has access to Sacred Sword, which could be pretty good if I don't want to lower my defenses with Close Combat. But this Pokemon is essentially here to fit a speed tier of 108 that outspeeds that teams may want to outspeed Rapidash with. This could be another coverage option. It gives us our grass type. So now we have our Fire Water Grass Core with Rapidash, Lapras, and Virizion. We have our Fantasy Core with Dragapult, Togekiss, and Excadrill. And we have our Dark Fighting and Psychic type, which is known as the Phantom Core. So the Dark, Fighting, Psychic, they cover all of their weaknesses. So that's with Alolan Persian, Indeedee, and now Virizion. So this is going to be a great fit for the team. Fits like a glove. So Virizion is a very valuable member to the team. It's another physical attacker, but that's okay. It can be really great in some situations. Every one of my Pokemon can be brought any given week. That's what I love about this draft. Sometimes people start to pick trash whenever it gets towards the end of a draft, but we were able to budget our points effectively and get great Pokemon that have viability to come every single week, which is making this draft phenomenal in my opinion. So looking at it the way we have it right now, it just looks great. So the last pick that I decided to pick was going to be something that can fill a little bit more of a hole, allows us to use our remaining free points in something that was valuable for the team. So for the very last pick of this draft, the San Diego Snugglers decided to pick up Crustle. Now, what holes does this Crustle fill? Crustle is a tier 4 Pokemon, I believe is what it was. I do have 20 extra points. That is something to keep in mind. I did not use all my points in this draft. Why is that important? If for whatever reason one of these Pokemon don't fit the way that I want them to, then I can trade them out for something a little bit more expensive by using those 20 extra free points. I do like to have extra points just in case sometimes for that reason. So Crustle, what does it do? With this generation and the introduction of heavy duty boots, this thing becomes a very viable sweeper. So heavy duty boots allows you to ignore any kind of hazards, and this Pokemon gets the ability Sturdy. So it also has access to Shell Smash. So in some situations, this could be an amazing sweeper and pull back a game for me. It's a Bug and Rock typing, so I don't have either of those typings. It can be pretty great. Bug is weak to fighting and is weak to ground. I believe that Rock is weak to fighting and weak to ground. The Bug typing, I believe, neuters to both of them, so allows it to be neutral instead of super effective. So it gets access to really great stabs. Obviously Stone Edge, it gets access to Earthquake, Rock Slide, X Scissor, things like that. But let's hop into Pokemon Showdown just to kind of show you a little bit more about this thing. It's going to be named Krusty Krab, but the attack stat is pretty awesome. Like I said, it gets access to Shell Smash. So Shell Smash, along with heavy duty boots and the sturdy ability, will allow us to guarantee setup. And if my opponent doesn't have any priority, or I have Psychic Terrain on the field, then this could be an amazing sweeper and really pull back games depending on the situation. So hopefully we can get a couple Crustle sweeps this season. It also is another Stealth Rocker, because right now the only Stealth Rocker that we have is Excadrill, and you don't want to make Excadrill the Stealth Rocker every single time. You want to make Excadrill your breaker. So to have Stealth Rock on another Pokemon is going to be phenomenal for this team. But not only does it get Stealth Rock, it gets access to spikes. So I get both hazards there. The only hazard that I don't have is toxic spikes, but that's fine. I can do without it. So I do have a grounded poison type, right? I think I have a grounded poison type. No, I don't have a grounded poison type. That could be something that we'll fix that maybe. We'll see. But I have access to stealth rock and I have access to spikes, which can be great. Our rapid spinner is a steel type, so that'll be fine. So this is going to be an amazing sweeper, like I said. Other abilities that it has, shell armor. So if I decide to run a super bulky variant because it has a really, really fat defensive stat, that means I cannot be crit. Weak armor is another way for us to boost our speed if we have to get double speed. So we could still run focus sash with weak armor. When we get hit, lowers our defense by 1 and increases our speed by 2. If I combine shell smash with weak armor, that's a +4 in speed. So that could be pretty good in some situations, but most of the time, heavy duty boots and sturdy is going to be the play. So I think that's what we're going to be doing most of the time. So yeah, very excited to use that. In regards to coverage, it has access to earthquake. It has access to rock coverage. I think that it gets stone edge, I want to believe. Yeah, it gets access to stone edge as well as rock slide, rock blast. So in case my opponent decides to go for a substitute in front of Crystal's face, that could be pretty great. So Crystal is going to fill up a couple of different holes for the team, and it was an amazing value for our very last pick of the draft. So yeah, guys, this is the team. This is going to be the San Diego Snugglers for this season of the APA Academy. Let me know what you guys think down in the description. Let me know down in the comments below. If you guys like the team, if there's something that you see that I don't see, please leave it down below. I'll try to do my best to respond to every comment that I see. I love the fact that you guys comment on it. So great stuff. So this is our team for the season. Very excited to get this started. I do believe that we're going to get started starting next week. Today is the 7th, so we're going to get this up today, and we're starting battles this week, and we'll have that up for you, I believe, on Friday. We're posting the APA Academy draft battles on Fridays, so you'll see week 1 number 1 against, I believe we play, our first week is going to be against Platinum Howler, I believe is who it is. Yeah, I think we play Platinum Howler. And his Glygars, his Delta Glygars, I think is week number 1. So hopefully we can start off the season at a strong 1-0. So yeah, with all that being said, guys, I'm gonna get the heck up out of here. Have a great rest of your day, and above all else, be nice. Peace.